Chainge is a revolutionary multi-chain liquidity aggregator that lets people swap and move tokens across chains. There's certain times when demand is high and certain times when demand is low. And that dynamicism is really something interesting for us. So that way, if we know that there's a large liquidity amount and the demand comes in spurts, that Chainge will be able to support that use case. So for our layer 2, we need a way for people to come from other chains and onboard directly to layer 2 or from layer 1. And we need the ability for a large amount of liquidity to be able to onboard very quickly.
Primarily, we will focus on the interoperability we can bring to Syscoin, not only on the layer 1, but also on the upcoming layer 2 public blockchain. And I think the advantage we are able to provide is that the cross-chain speed, because Chainge is also a kind of expert in the cross-chain liquidity aggregator. So we're able to have the liquidity on layer 1 Syscoin and the rollups to be aggregated with other liquidity on other chains as well.
Right. We were looking for the right partner for our interoperability to be able to onboard directly. One of the problems with starting with an optimistic rollup is that there's a 7-day delay.
Yeah, exactly.
And the 7-day delay is very bad for the user convenience, but it's needed for security. We feel that starting with an optimistic base, but with the 7-day delay, capturing the interoperability component that Chainge provides, you can onboard and offboard within that 7-day delay period, which is a very big benefit. So we removed that issue on ours by using Chainge.
We share the same vision that to create a fast and scalable and stable public blockchain, which could be used for a lot of different scenarios. So I think from my perspective, the interoperability is very important to the future, not only for DeFi, but also for other ecosystem on existing public blockchains. Because we are seeing more and more public blockchains, they are emerging. And I hope we could have a very good collaboration with the Syscoin to serve more projects as underlying technology.
Yeah, so it's great. The benefit of Syscoin's layer 2 provides obviously the Bitcoin shared security with rollup design. It's almost like a rollup on Bitcoin. And then with the data availability built on layer 1 as well. So there's a custom data availability of 64 megabytes per block available. And that data gets pruned from the blockchain. So that's a big benefit on the scale aspect. So now the users are going to say, okay, well, I want to use the system. How do I onboard? Well, the Chainge has a really easy UX interface an interoperability play that lets people onboard and offboard really simply. And so our portals, our bridge portals, or a UX is simply going to have a Chainge integration built in, and it just make things a lot easier and simpler for people who want to try to use it.
By integrating the Chainge platform, I think the users on Syscoin, they are able to have a way to enjoy the low cost and the fast speed DEX, which also has aggregated liquidity from other chains as well. I have a concept, exchange and swapping everywhere. So today, most of us, we trade and swap our tokens in a centralized exchange. But I think in the future, it will be everywhere. It could be on Syscoin layer 1, it could be on Syscoin layer 2, but ultimately the users on your public blockchain, they are able to swap any token to another token on any chain.
Self-sovereign.
Yes. So, and I hope this infrastructure could also help the ecosystem on Syscoin, layer 1 and layer 2. They can easily have this feature as well. No matter what kind of protocol they are going to build, they can easily have this capability to swap from one token on one chain and swap into another token on another chain easily.
And I think on the ecosystem, we want to collaborate as much as possible to bring in new features. So maybe we can, get a sense of where your roadmap is on those new features. As an ecosystem, we're infrastructure, so we're happy to support anything that Chainge is doing on the protocol side. And even if there are new innovative features you want to test them out, we'd happy to deploy them on Syscoin first to try all these features. Also on the R&D side, happy to research and develop things like the ZK stuff and different things we have expertise on the protocol to help out in any way the partnership.
Yeah. And for me, I think the collaboration between Syscoin and Chainge, it is expected to be a long-term partnership and long-term collaboration, starting from the research to the ecosystem building. Because as we all know, for a public blockchain project, ecosystem is everything.
Yeah.
So we will try to rely on the liquidity we have aggregated and support the development of Syscoin in the future. It will not be limited in the cross-chain, but also we can work together to have a bigger ecosystem in the future.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Basically, this layer 2, you can think of it as shared security with Bitcoin, because Syscoin is merge mined with Bitcoin. First of all, the merge mining, on top, there's to solve selfish mining, we have finality. So selfish mining means that Bitcoin miners may not care about the child chain that they're mining with Syscoin, but in order to stop Bitcoin miners from screwing around with the chain, we add the finality. And also finality allows us to prune data. So pruning data is very useful for data availability. The data availability is useful to scale up the rollup. So as the rollups need to expand with throughput, 3 to 5 to 7,000 transactions a second is used in the data availability layer, which is pruned after some time, meaning only the hash gets stored. So it's like the ideal modular tech stack, very similar to the Bitcoin philosophy of you verify and then trust without having to rely trust on anyone else to download data.
We really believe a lot of projects will come to Syscoin, and that will help us. Change. We can also have a kind of way to aggregate liquidity in the future from not only Syscoin layer 1 but also the Syscoin layer 2 rollouts.
So like Chainge's core infrastructure, we have 20 to 25 projects right now, kind of waiting for the mainnet to release, and all of that will require onboarding, which will use Chainge. So every user, probably by default, will end up using Chainge to onboard and offboard.
Yes.
And so it's core infrastructure that everyone needs.
Yes. And I think Chainge is also a very user-friendly wallet, which has the capability to access more than 44 different chains.
Right.
And easily, users, no matter on which chain your assets are on, they can easily use Chainge to access the layer 2 of Syscoin and layer 1 of Syscoin at the same time.
And the community itself, like, I don't know if people have heard about some partnership or something, but a lot of the community in Syscoin are already fans or investors in Chainge.
Exactly.
Like I've noticed a lot of investors have said, can you integrate Chainge into Syscoin, not knowing that there's a partnership in play, but also just generally they're users of Chainge, and they promote Chainge in the Syscoin Discord. And it's very funny to see because they don't promote others. It's always, it's always Chainge. So I feel like naturally there's a tie in the community as well between the protocols before we even spoke.
Yeah. That's a great.
I think the integration's already done, by the way. And so the liquidity migration is the only thing that's happening. There is the existing multi-chain contracts that we are going to port that liquidity over. So users that are holding the multi-chain stable coins or multi-chain Bitcoin, multi-chain Ethereum wrap are going to have to move them over. And so we'll offer easy onboarding experiences through the Chainge interface. So those users using the multi-chain one can easily migrate over to Chainge. So Chainge will be the canonical bridging interface. Although multi-chain will still exist, people can still use it. And I think internally Chainge uses multi-chain, but the canonical one for our layer 2 will be through your interface.
Yes, for us, I think our solution is pretty mature to manage the layer 1 and layer 2 stuff. And I think, currently most of the bridges out there, the cross-chain bridges out there, they are only able to deal with the EVM compatible chain.
Right.
But they are not able to deal with, for example, the layer 1 is non-EVM compatible, but the layer 2 is EVM compatible. So for us, I think it's our advantage. And the most important thing is security.
Yes.
We need to make it bulletproof. So that no one will face such kind of hack things when they are using the cross-chain bridge.
Right, and it goes to the fact that using a tried, trusted, fused MPC protocol that's been battle tested as well.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So our plan is a little bit different than what Polygon is trying to do, what Arbitrum, ZK Matter Labs, and Starkware.
Yeah.
They think layer 3 EVM. So dApp chains, their dApp chains will be EVM. We think dApp chains will be custom execution environments. So for example, you can have a game or a casino or a metaverse. You could run the native code and have it provable using an optimistic assumption. Now, there's going to need to be bridges and liquidity requirements to go in and out of those systems. So naturally, our partnership, the Chainge, could evolve to include multiple roll-ups, multiple custom execution environments. And if there's other layer 2 roll-ups we do, for example, maybe compliance or something, Chainge is useful for that as well. So whichever kind of modular hierarchical structures we create, whether that be custom execution environments with layer 3 or new layer 2s, Chainge will be there as an integration partner for the liquidity to onboard and offboard easy.
Yeah, I hope we can give you the help. I think after the collaboration between Syscoin and the Chainge, we set a kind of model that we can allow users on Syscoin to start to enjoy the cross-chain capability, and the builders on Syscoin, they also can build something. For example, if they want to have a launchpad, absolutely they can accept the USDT on different chains simultaneously. Right. And for the applications, the DeFi protocols on Syscoin Layer 2 and Rolex, they can easily use our swap everywhere concept to liquidate the assets when it is necessary.
Yes, that's great. Yeah, I mean, tying up all the ecosystem, the liquidity and the experience around all the chains, definitely seems like we are in a multi-chain world for the foreseeable future. So,
yes.
And the users are kind of sometimes they want to stick to one ecosystem and not go, but they want the shared liquidity.
Yes.
And so it's very, very important. And I think what you're doing with that solution, it definitely is instrumental in hopefully the creation of our next DeFi summer.
Yeah, hope our collaboration will be a great one.
Yeah, it'll be great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.